Well, hey, hey, how you doing, blade lovers? Get nuts. The world over, we're gonna talk about some sick blades and how they work today. Wow. Hope you blade lovers and gear lovers the world over are doing well. Anytime we're talking about cutting tools, it is a good day. And we are gonna have some fun as we unpack one of the longest tested knives here on the channel, the Architect Knives AK 3.5 in S35VN. Yeah, not MagnaCut. Not MagnaCut version. We got the S35VN version. I got this 12 to 11 months ago, so it's been about a year, and I have taken this on backpacking adventures, hiking, day trips, hanging out with the fam, around the houses in EDC, running errands, and used it in all sorts of different environments, and I keep coming back to it. And so, I'm gonna unpack with you guys today what this brings to the table, some epic aspects to the design, some not so awesome parts about Architect knives that I'd like to see them tweak and change. Not everything is perfect in Architect land. Having now reviewed tons of their blades. Look at that 8-inch beast of MagnaCut. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, let's get it. So we're gonna not only talk about that, I got competitive options like the Architect Knife 3 in MagnaCut that we'll discuss, previously reviewed. How about the White River Knives Cub, right? Well, I got the original and I own the Cub, previously reviewed. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on that, potential competitive options, and so much more. So we are gonna have a blast today, and let's go ahead and just dive right in here. If you're not familiar with Architect Knives, really quick, kind of get this out of the way. If you don't know who Architect Knives are, well, you've been living under a rock. They are an American company that offers the ability for you to be the architect to your design. So they have several designs. They have like 4 different steels that rotate through availability. So they do like batches, basically. You go to their architect site, you pick your steel, then you can pick your handle, either color and also material, G10 or micarta, and then you can pick between Kydex or leather sheaths and a couple little other options. So you're kind of customizing and tricking out your blade. And when I'm making this video, they do have some MagnaCut versions of the 3 left. They do have some S35VN versions available and some 1095 stuff in their other designs, and they are always rotating. So get on mailing lists. I try to give you guys heads up all the time. Architect Knives did not pay for this video in any way, shape, or form. I just have an affiliate link I'll have popping up, and it'll be linked below. And I have a 10% off promo code, but we'll talk about pricing and all that a little bit later. But they didn't pay me, nothing. I just get an affiliate link. That's it. So, with that said, what is this knife and why? Okay, I'm gonna just say this right out of the gate. I gotta get this out of the way. The AK3 versus the 3.5 and the rest of the line is freaking ugly. Ugly. This knife right here is ugly. Look at it compared to the 3.5. The 3 fell off the other ugly tree, in my opinion, and hit every branch going down. That's why I have the little Lego bulldozer here today. Beep, beep, boop. Okay, so from a purely aesthetic point of view, the 3.5 is like a missile. It's an ARAM, like launched from a stealth, and it is going in for the kill. I mean, this thing is so hot and looks good while you work. So you heard a whistle while you work? That thing freaking is like gorgeous while it works. With that said, the AK3 is actually the better EDC fixed blade because at 3 inches, it's a little bit more compact, it's lighter weight, it has a thinner stock, so it's just slicier. It's slicier, it's lighter, so if you want to carry this in your pocket and you're going to be carrying it mainly around town, the AK3, though not attractive, little like not so attractive sister to the 3.5, it will actually be the better performer. So just because it doesn't look good doesn't mean it doesn't perform. So I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way there so we kind of had a good plumb line. What makes the 3.5 so interesting and unique compared to so many of these ultralight EDC fixed blades that we now have floating around on the market, which are 6-sauce, don't get me wrong, that's awesome, is that it is beefy and big compared to those designs. With the 3.5 inches, 1/8 of an inch thick, high saber grind, regardless of the steel that you go with, it freaking works. It is a workhorse. It's going to eat up. It's going to handle tougher tasks, harder tasks that you wouldn't necessarily want to put really thin, full flat grind blades through. With that said, the trade-off is it's not the sliciest blade ever. There are definitely slicier ones, but it's still got an eighth and still got a pretty high flat grind, saber grind, right? I mean, so it's going to perform regardless of the steel. The second part is the girth of the handle. The girthiness of the handle is exquisite. That is what keeps me coming back week in, week out, is the ergos are so beautiful. There's no hot spots anywhere. This is G10. You can get micarta. And you look at how big the real estate is in my hand. I mean, I have full spanning width right there, and I have 3¼ inches across my hand, wear large size gloves, and I mean, it's all day. Because if you're familiar with the company or if you're hearing about them for the first time, you should go check it out. Here's the Architect 4.5, right? Ideal belt knife size. They share these same dimensions of the handle. The handle is identical. So you're kind of getting like a camp knife handle, belt knife handle on a 3½ inch blade. So it's very like personable, carryable to use in a lot of different scenarios. So really only like cardboard cutting and maybe some food prep will like the 3 outperform it when we're talking about slicing, and it actually will do better as bushcraft because of the slightly broader geometry makes for easier cutting to make like feather sticks and to do that type of thing. So those attributes, excellent, and 0 complaints in that category. Now, this version, S35EN, have 0 complaints. It was my favorite steel prior to MagnaCut. MagnaCut is a better steel overall, not like mind-blowingly better, it is better. But the S35EN version has held a phenomenal edge. It's so easy to hone, tune up, just get a little field kit, rock and roll, and it just works, man. It's tough, it's durable, it's rust resistant, and is not hard to resharpen. So I would not be afraid of going with an S35EN version if the MagnaCuts are not available, and currently they are not. I think they've only done like 1 or 2 batches really ever with that category. So when you add the steel choice, and you might be like, well, who freaking makes this thing? Well, Architect Knives offers, no questions asked, lifetime warranty, one of the best in the industry on all their blades. White River Knives is the OEM. That's the OEM for all their stainless stuff, and I believe even the 3V. Don't quote me on the 3V, but so White River is the manufacturer right here for this, and that's where we'll kind of come into maybe the Ursus Cub, previously reviewed. The Ursus Cub by White River, very similar profile. The gut punch is twofold. One is that the ergonomics on the Cub were not to my liking at all. The exposed bird beak and the shorter handle was a problem. You can get aftermarket scales now that they offer. I think they released that after I did my video on that. The ergonomics on the 3.5 will destroy the Ursus Cub, in my opinion, the Cub, because they have this exposed tang back there coming out on that little knife. And even the 3 of the AK will be better as well because there's no exposed tang. There's no exposed tang. So that was really kind of, because my pinky was just resting on it and it was just not fun to use. I mean, this is the S35EN version of the Ursus, the original. This has been a phenomenal tool for me. So you're getting the same S35EN. So with that, and it will show up in the cost, because this model right here, if you build it out with scales, S35EN currently, and a Kydex sheath, no other attachments, or a leather sheath dangler, and these things are beautiful leather sheaths, right there. It's $190, but then with my 10% off promo code, you're looking at like $175 ballpark. $175 with no questions asked warranty, knowing that White River is the OEM, and the Ursus Cub is $200. And I mean, it's MagnaCut, I believe, but I mean, that's just something to kind of consider. Same thing with the MagnaCut version of the 3. You can get these for right around the same price, $175, so $25 less, and we know they're getting made, by White River, and they just look a little different. So there you go. That's where the Cub does not connect with me, and this just destroys it, and is a phenomenal partner up tool. Now, the downside to this design is that it is big. It's just not as carryable. It's not going to be something that you maybe can conceal as easily. You will definitely know it is in your pocket. Now, that means that it is excellent to either run as just a little standalone bushcrafter, to run in tandem with, say, a giant chopper, Oh my gosh! The Ontario SP8. Gosh, Ontario, where are you? I know they're doing something. Somebody bought them and they're trying to like rebrand something. I don't know. Not rebrand, but like redo. Oh my gosh. Shout out if you own an SP8. This thing is a beast of a batoner and chopper. And I paid like $50 for this American-made hunk of steel back in the day. So, you know, you like take this and then you partner and do all your fine carving with that. Let's go. Let's freaking go. That's where this would come into play. Maybe you have the AK8 previously reviewed. I'll throw the video up. Check out the MagnaCut. If you are like on the fence about MagnaCut on bigger blades, go watch that video. I freaking torqued on this thing, batoned with it, used it all summer last year, and it just like didn't even blink. So I'll have that linking. So maybe this is like your big kind of wilderness blade, but you know, for all your tiny little stuff, boom, partner it up. Tag team. So, or you're one of those freaking weirdos who uses a hatchet. No, I've definitely started using hatchets a lot more than I used to, but you're never going to convince me that a large swinging machete blade, woods blade, isn't a great option. Okay, so let's run in some competitive options here. So it's that trade-off, right? I just wanted to highlight that. So it's that trade-off that I absolutely love EDCing it, but like the 3, some of these other options I'm going to run in here are just way better at concealing in the pocket, but I do often carry this in the pocket when I just don't care, which is usually, you know, I'm like, I don't give a crap if somebody sees this hanging in my pocket while I'm at Home Depot or some other crazy place. So really fast sheath, boom. Well, I guess I got to hit, like, what are the things I would want to change? Okay, so there are a few things. I guess I'll say 3 on the whole Architect series. 1, no 90-degree spines. There's no reason for that. I mean, the Ursus series has 90-degree spines, right? So I heard some rumblings that they might be changing that, so that would be great if they did in some future rendition. I think it's just a nice little feature, helps with scraping, all the rest. The jimp is not super comfy. The jimping is better on this guy right here. So if they're going to do jimping, I would prefer that they would either do it like they have on the 3, because the gaps are deeper and wider. Now, it's not like Tops Knives level, owie, but it's definitely there, and I don't think it's even necessary or needed in any way. Now, let me see if, do I have even, yeah. So something like this on the Reef Knives Circadian would be better. You don't really feel it, but you know it's there. It just gives you a little something to grab onto. That is a much more enjoyable jimp than what is currently on here. So those 2 things, not massive, but it's data points and something that's like, eh. And I think like their sheaths are, their Kydex sheaths are amazing. O-facing, amazing. And they're pancake though. So you can choose all kinds of color combinations. They got, you know, like tension screws, all sorts of different attachments, all that crap. But I think on the 3.5 and on the 3, they should go to a taco. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be real. They should go with a taco like this. Shout out to my buddy Aaron over at Hortonera Outdoors and his brother Nate. Doing was it the C-Cut in MagnaCut? This one's the MagnaCut version. Doing some of that. But just way more concealable and carryable in the pockets, can still do a lot of attachments. I think these 2 models, if they could go to a taco design, kicking it to 11. As it stands, the pancake is fine. I'm not like dissing it. It totally works. This is an Ulti-Clip new one. I'll tag some of those if I can. They are starting to carry some Ulti-Clip options there. If I was to have a choice between these 2 types of Ulti-Clips, I prefer this one. It is amazing. Really cool. Grabs on the belt or your pocket. And you don't have these super sharp edges that the original has. The original's still amazing, but just a quick, I know you guys are, I'm sure I'm going to get questions. What type of clip is that? So anyway, there you go. For me personally, I prefer the Kydex. The leather is still great for this model, but the Kydex is just, again, easier to carry and lash in different options. All right, let's talk some of those other competitive options now that we've talked about the Ursus, talked about some of those. Since I brought it up, the Circadian, right, by Reef Knives. MagnaCut steel. This one is probably one of the closest knives I have to that, but you can see it's a little smaller, so it's a little more carryable. The leather sheath is this cool like loop over with an Ulti-Clip. So cool to carry. Love it. You can get Kydex for this. So the $300 almost. I mean, I think it's like $290, something like that for MagnaCut. And when these are in MagnaCut, I mean, it's not much more. You know, they're like $200, maybe just under $200 with my promo code. So I mean, you're going to pay $100 more. Same, you know, like no questions asked, amazing, mind-blowing warranty. The fin finish is phenomenal. The Circadian is amazing when in stock. The belly is good. I would have loved to have the geometry cut just a little bit to make it a little more piercing and a little less pudgy right there. That would be my only critique on that. This is a phenomenal blade, but I just want to run in there for value. I mean, these things are just insane value. And this thing is a fantastic option, very slicey and way more competitive slice-wise, and I will say is more attractive to me, the Reef over the Architect 3. So it's a way more like that one, I guess, in that regard. So that's just a one option there. Follow along because I post regularly when their different options become available, because I know many of you are just in love with this. If you already have a 3.5 or a 3, give shout outs. Let me know what you think about those and what your take is, good or bad, on those models. So yeah, appreciate you guys hanging with me today. Hope it's been fun. Hope it's been entertaining. The coffee is starting to wear off. You can tell by the tone of my voice, but I'm going to sip and punch out another video here. So that one's going to be insane. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Without you, I cannot do what I do. You guys here at the Gideonstactical crew are mind-blowingly cool, and I'm so thankful for you. Check out the other videos. Subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.